Next up on WTV, The Change Window, this week's edition of Mystery Movie, and Real Talk. WTV's Daily Update starts now. Hey there, Red Hawk Nation. Today is Friday, February 5th, and I'm Kirthi Gummadi with today's Daily Update brought to you by Wingspan TV. For the next week, we are taking the update on the road in different locations around the school to prepare for our installment of 14 Days of Love. The voice of Mr. Harris releasing students by grade level or activity has become a familiar sound at the end of each period. But starting on Monday, there will be the sounds of silence until the bell rings. WTV's Kate Graham explains.
In the effort to help keep the hallways from having too many students in them at one time, the school has been using a staggered release system at the end of each class, as well as at the end of the day.
Juniors are released at this time.
However, today is the last day of this system because starting on Monday, all students will be released when the bell rings at the end of class and at the end of the day.
When we started this school year, we were looking at all types of ways we could mitigate students being together and congregating, especially in areas where students might be unmasked or they might be together for long periods of time. And one of the things that we started this year was a staggered release, letting different groups of kids doing it at different times to control the amount of kids that we have in a hallway. What we're finding, though, is kids are being released at a staggered time, but instead of going to the next class, they're hanging out in the hallways and congregating. So now instead of us monitoring and helping a bunch of kids move in 5 minutes, we have kids that are in the hall for 15 minutes congregating. So the hope is by removing the staggered release, one, that we increase class time so teachers can work with their students in class, but two, that we can reduce the number of students that are congregating in the hallways that have an increased risk of spreading COVID.
To help make sure the students aren't hanging out in the hallways, Rainwater says admin will be doing what they can to help get students where they are supposed to be.
So we'll go back to looking like it did in the past. The bell will ring. Admin will be out there helping kids move, get to the next class, and making sure that kids aren't backing up in the hallways as they're waiting for teachers to enter classrooms. The goal is that it's more seamless, that kids are moving from one place to another in a seamless transition, and we don't have the issues with backups, with hallways, and our administrators can be there the whole time helping kids move along to their next spot.
After half of the school year of staggered release, some students are going to miss the system.
Personally, I feel like it's better having the staggered release times because we're able to have less crowded hallways, so there's more social distancing, as well as it's nice not to have to just run to your next class. You get a bit of time in between.
While the school is going to be back to the same release time for all students, Rainwater says that the school admin team will be willing to reevaluate things in the future.
I think everything this year that we've dealt with has been flexible and with change. So this is something we're going to try. We're going to see how it works. And if it's something that we don't think has the positive outcome we're hoping for, then we'll look at making other staggered arrangements. We do have less than 50% of our kids on campus, so we naturally have less kids than we normally do. So again, it's something we're going to try. We're going to see how it looks like. We're going to see if this lessens the number of kids that are in the halls and groups for long periods of time. And then we'll go back and we'll make adjustments as need be.
Reporting for WTV, I'm Kate Graham.
Starting Monday, students are allowed to change their learning environment for the last quarter. WTV's Aditi Darodkar explains.
The last 9 weeks don't start until March 22nd, but the last window to change a student's learning environment opens on Monday and closes on Friday, February 12th. Principal Ashley Rainwater predicts that similar patterns of students switching learning environments will be seen.
So far this year, we've seen an increase of freshmen returning to us each time. Freshmen and sophomores, or sophomores and juniors, has been consistent, about the same number choosing to go to virtual as the same number coming back face-to-face. And a little bit more of our seniors have been choosing each time to go virtual. So I'm expecting that trend to continue for the fourth marking period. It's also very possible that a lot of kids, since there's only 9 weeks left, may choose to stay with the current schedule that they have and the classes they have to finish out the year.
For freshman Amina Andai, this learning window is her chance to switch from virtual to in-person. However, Andai worries about COVID-19 dangers and the effectiveness of safety guidelines placed.
I hope to see kids actually taking the virus seriously, not like always having their mask down or always, like just hanging out in huge groups without having any sort of social distancing or having their mask on, because in that sense, there would be no point of, people going back to in school.
Reporting for WTV, this is Aditi Darodkar.
Wingspan's Andrew Howergy brings you this week's installment of Mystery Movie.
Hello there, Red Hawks. Welcome back to Mystery Movie. As always, I'm your host, Andrew Howdigi. Now, for this week's winners. This week, our winners were Alice Firth, Jack Denish, and Mohammed Izan Lakhani. Now, get your phones out and ready for this week's hint. In this film you can't refuse, a happy man in a loving family slowly loses what he holds closest to him after taking over his father's job in this Academy Award-winning classic. If you think you know the correct answer, scan the QR code or go to the link below to access the Google form. If you missed the hint, it's provided again on the Google form. Good luck. That's it for today's Mystery Movie. As always, I'm your host, Andrew Howdigi.
On this week's edition of Real Talk, WTV's Madigan Gunya asked students about the Super Bowl.
Hey Red Hawks, it's WTV's Madigan Gunya with this week's edition of Real Talk. This week we're going to be asking students about the Super Bowl. Do you have plans for Super Bowl Sunday?
Yes, I do have plans for the Super Bowl. I actually think I'm working that day, but if I wasn't working, then I would be going over to my neighbor's house like we usually do every year and watching the Super Bowl.
I plan on watching the game with some friends.
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
I don't really care who wins the Super Bowl, but if I had to pick, I'd probably say the Chiefs.
I'll say probably the Chiefs. What about you, honey?
Probably Alabama.
Do you like the game or the halftime show better?
Honestly, I like the commercials better than the game and the halftime show.
Nowadays, I like the game better.
I like the pregame show a lot, but sometimes the halftime show is better. But I don't know who's performing to this one, so I'm going to say the game.
Do you think fans should be allowed to attend the Super Bowl this year?
I think fans should definitely be able to attend the Super Bowl as long as they're following all of the COVID guidelines set in place.
Yes. I think it varies on what stadium they're playing at. If it's outdoors, they should. Inside, no.
Reporting for WTV, I'm Madigan Gunya.
Returning for the Valentine's season, here's the preview of Day 5 of Wingspan's 14 Days of Love.
Well, I'll say that it's not really a pet peeve, but it's something that is getting used to watching TV shows in a binge type fashion. And so, dedicated to hours on hours of watching the same series till the end, yeah.
If you're looking for more from Wingspan, you can follow us at Liberty Wingspan on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our award-winning website, libertywingspan.com. And now for today's announcements. Want to be on Wingspan's 14 Days of Love? Scan the QR code below. Student Council selections for the 2021 to 2022 school year will be released today and will be posted outside of room E101. That's it for today's Daily Update. This is Kirthi Gummadi for Wingspan TV.